Right. Looked like it worked. Looks like the chat's working. Didn't work yesterday, but I had to restart it. So looks like it's working now. And I figured if some people are already here, I was just setting everything up in my room with my mattress. Figure I'm here now. It's not like we're doing much during this quarantine. I do have to be available to my students. I have my phone, my classroom. They don't ask too many questions. I talked with a lot of them this morning, but I need to be available until about 2, so for another couple hours. But I get notifications on my computer, my laptop, and I get notifications on my phone. So if they get in touch with me, but how is everybody? Cecilia, and M. Marana. I wish I knew how to say everybody's name properly. So I basically don't have anything. Oh, Angie's Closet. Hello. I don't have anything planned to say. I would just like to take your questions, but so you don't have to hear me just ramble on about nothing, I can start talking about what I just put up or what I will put up on the channel. And that is the next 5 most common irregular verbs. I think there was like here was in there, but the last one I do, and that will be up this afternoon. I'm just uploading it now. It's lay versus lie. And that is a super tough, even for native speakers, because we don't use it correctly. Lay versus lie. I always say, oh, I'm going to go lay down. And that's technically not correct. It should be, I am going to lie down. But I think it's Americans who have a trouble with that. We don't say it correctly. So that's why I say, if you're just talking to a friend in English, who cares? But if you are trying to pass a test, that's why I try to make it like perfect on the video. Like there's no question about it. Lie versus lay. And then of course we have another lie, which means you're not telling the truth. So I can see why the English language can be a little complicated. Luckily, most of the like past tense verbs, they're not that difficult, but every so often they are. So does anybody have any questions? There are only 8 people in here, which is great. Figure I can answer all the questions. Oh, there was one guy who gave a bunch of questions, like 9 of them on Hello Talk. So I think, my phone's upstairs. Maybe I'll run up there and grab it. But he had a couple great questions that I really should address. So, and I know I might be here a little bit early, but I figured, why not? If people are around, Khalifi, what's going on? Andrew, I think it was Andrew who had like 9 or 10 great questions. And I think one I answered right on Hello Talk because it was super easy. I could do it in about 2 sentences, but there were some others that were really good. And I would love, like one might have been number 9 that was like, oh my gosh, I need to address that one. I need to ask. Oh, go for it. Yeah, any kind of questions is fine. As long as it's something I know about. United States, I know quite a bit about that. English language, I know quite a bit about that. It's my job. I went to school for it. So, okay, yeah, go for it. You're translating something, Cecilia? Oh, gosh. Okay. Celia's asking about the room clear method when we talk about American schools. And this this changes every so often. So when I first started teaching 20 years ago, like we could put our hands on students if it was for safety. Like if they were going to hurt another student, I could like get in between them and stop that from happening. If there is a student that is destroying a room, like I could get in front of them and stop that. A couple of years ago, the law changed where if that student was destroying, just going crazy, right? Just going wild, tearing up the room, as we say, the idea was to clear the room. Don't touch that student. Keep everybody else safe. Everybody else leaves the classroom. So that's the idea between the room clear. Now, public schools, yeah, Cecilia, public schools and private schools do run a little bit differently. They don't have the same exact state laws. Public schools have to adhere, have to follow state law, and it usually is broken up by the states. For instance, where I used to teach at in Alabama, in the southern United States, about 2002, we had something called corporal punishment, where you could actually hit the child, hit the student. Now, there were some rules around that, and I couldn't do it, but my principal could do it, and they had to have witnesses, and it had to be the same gender. Where I even went to school in Maine, like we never had corporal punishment. But, and I was talking to someone yesterday about public schools versus private schools. So if we're talking about high school, private schools, the teacher pay is much, much less than public schools. Teachers get paid more to teach in public schools. So I don't know if anybody knew that. Oh, you don't root. So if you have to keep students safe, how do you do it without clearing the room? And to be honest, if somebody was like throwing stuff, I would make sure they hit me first, and then I could take action. But yeah, I've never personally cleared a room. But when to use to or at somewhere? It's a good one. So you say, I am going to the store. I'm at home now, but I'm going to the store. But you wouldn't say somewhere at. I'm not sure the second part of the question. Or at somewhere. At somewhere means you're already there. So I am at the store. Maybe that makes sense. So I am at the store currently, right now. I am going to the store, meaning you're not there yet. In the future, you are going to travel there. Does that make sense? Angie's Closet? Angie, let me know if that doesn't make sense. Public schools only, I'm not sure how they deal with it in private school. I do know that there are different rules, but like they can't hit children. But I'm not sure if they have to clear the room or not. And that law is kind of going away where you have to clear the room, where you couldn't get in between a student. Like I usually just get right close to them. So they have the choice. You're either going to hit me or you're going to chill. So, but I'm a male teacher. I'm bigger than most of my students. So I do have that physical presence. But to be honest, I've never had that happen in my classroom. I think if you're a certain kind of teacher, I'm like very calm and I try to just have my students feel as relaxed in my class as possible. So I've never had those kind of problems. Like I really rarely even have disrespect. I think with my students at 12 and 13, and I've been doing this for a long time, if you treat the students with respect, they will treat you with respect. That's what I found. So I don't have many problems in my classroom. There's teachers might, but Lelox, how's it going from France? Saeed says, could you explain the use of get up to? Get up to? So I can think if you're on the bottom floor of a house, you might say, I need to get up to the second floor. I need to get up to the second floor. Maybe if you are like your grades aren't that great, and maybe you have like a C, which is average, you may say, oh, I need to get my grade up to an A. So there is like a little bit of direction in that. Get up to. You could talk about gaining weight. Like at one time, I was 100 pounds, but I have gotten up to 400 pounds. Maybe there's some weight gain going on there. So off the top of my head, that's the three things that I can think of for like get up to. Get up to. Ronnie, what's going on? Same here in Argentina. Get paid better at public schools. Yeah, for private school, you might have less behavior. You might have less kids that misbehave in a private school, but then you have the other side of it where their parents are probably pretty wealthy. And so some people feel entitled. That means like they feel like they're owed something, like they're almost like better than everybody else. So sometimes in private schools you have where just teachers don't get as much respect from all students. I've always taught in public schools just because I didn't want to take the pay cut of teaching in a private school, but it's almost like half the price, like half the pay. So the average teacher where I teach at, they probably make $45,000. The longer you're in a school, the more you will make. And I think so 45,000, the average, going all the way up to maybe 70,000. And in a private school, you're probably making 25, 30,000 tops. If you've been there for 20 years. So there's a big difference, especially at the end of your career. Because what we do, we say we top out at the scale. So you make the most that you can make. And it usually takes about 20 years. They also pay you more if you have a bachelor's degree, if you have a master's degree, or a PhD, your doctorate. They'll pay more each time. If you have your master's, you make $5,000 a year more. If you have your PhD or your doctorate, I think you might make $10,000 a year more. So just adjusting the chat here. Okay. Okay. Andrew. Yes, your first question. It was a great one. So Andrew's saying he's at about an intermediate level, right? How can he improve his level by himself for free? What I'm doing, I would say I'm not at an intermediate level for Italian. I'm at like a higher beginner, I guess, still. But even for me, I think there is so much out on YouTube these days. You know, of course, my channel. I think my channel is probably mostly for intermediate. But I watch a lot of what's called Easy Italian, where you have natural speakers. They do have an easy English. Not sure if you've ever seen that. But in the United States, we have a lot of college professors that will put their lectures online for free. Yale University has a lot of them. So I think personally, and I remember the other one, Andrew, you said about your 3-year-old son. So I'm using YouTube right now. What I do is I print out the transcript. I do a lot of translating with that. You can print out transcripts on YouTube. All of my videos have a transcript. You can copy and paste that into a Google Doc, which I do for Italian, go back and forth, re-listen. Podcasts, I think, are great, especially if you're intermediate and you don't need that transcript. Podcasts, there are tons of free podcasts out there. So that's just a couple things I'm thinking of, but there's so much out there for free. For free. It's great. It's a great time to be learning a foreign language because it's so accessible. There's so much out there. You can, they talk about if you're learning Japanese, you have to immerse yourself into the Japanese culture. You can do that in your room, like on a Saturday morning, just listen to Japanese all the time. Like you're immersed. So what's the most important tool that I can practice to boost your pronunciation? That's a good question. And I don't know about you, but I talk to myself a lot. Like I talk to myself a lot in English, but when I'm trying to come up with ways to speak in Italian, I talk to myself a lot. I honestly do. It's like, okay, what if I wanted to say this in Italian? I do that. But Khalifi, what I would do is find a language partner. If you're on Hello Talk, and us English speakers, we have it so easy because everybody's trying to learn English. So when I get on to Hello Talk as an English speaker, people are just, hey, do you want to be my language partner or whatever? And I feel so bad because I only have like so much time to actually speak with people. So I know it might be a little bit harder. The Arabic language is huge, but if you can find somebody as a language partner, you can work on practicing with them. A half hour in Arabic, you teach them. You and I would get together, talk for a little bit. I think you're on Hello Talk, right? And that how we know each other from there. So maybe sometime, because I got a lot of extra time here, maybe we can sit down and have a conversation. Celia, you have many problems with violent students? In the US, in Argentina, in the US, it depends on where you teach, to be honest. Like where I used to teach at in Alabama, I would say we had some pretty violent students. There was like one morning, one of our former students, he wasn't a current student, he'd gotten like killed there was a murder on the, what do you call it? Not the playground, but the front yard. So where I live though, our violent students, they probably think they're violent, but they're not. Where I teach at, not that bad. In Maine, we don't have a lot of violence. You go to New York City, you go to Chicago, you go to St. Louis, yeah, you're probably dealing with some more violent students. But I'm kind of lucky. I don't really have what I would consider violent students at my school. I don't agree with the clear the room method either. We do have, he's my neighbor actually. We do have a police officer at my school. So if there is any trouble, he can do anything a police officer can do. So if a student is very violent, it has happened like a couple times this year, maybe like once this year, where he had to put a student in handcuffs because they were so violent at my school. But I don't have to deal with a lot of the violent students. There is a room of all the violent students. And then we have another school. If somebody is really, really violent, they might go to a school like off campus just for other violent people. So hope that helps. Okay, with that way. I understood. Okay, thank you, Angie. Good. I'm glad that you understood. All right, good. So sometimes I don't know, like, am I explaining it too quickly? Am I explaining it too slowly? So hello. Marina, how are you? Привет. That's all I can say in Russian, but at least I can read it. Привет. I suppose I could read Papa, right? Because that's just the P. Papa. Anna, I can read that too. I think it's an H. A-H-H-A. I'm sure it's pronounced something differently in Russian. Ooh, okay. I'm trying not to miss anything. I don't think I did. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't have enough practice with English speakers. What should I do? It's a great question. One day I would love to learn Russian, so maybe you and I can have some conversations, but I'm sure you don't want to wait around for 5 or 6 years because I would say the same thing. And you're on Hello Talk too. So if you can find that English speaker who's also learning Russian, I would think that there are quite a few. Three, there's so many. Yeah, like this question. Number three, Andrew said, there's so many different accents in English. You got American, you got British, you got Canadian, you got Australian, etc. Should I learn only one accent or is it better to learn several? It's a great question. And one that's difficult for me to answer since I am a native English speaker. I don't see a huge difference between Canadian, much less, or less between American and Canadian, but even British is not so bad. Australian, a little bit different, but there are very few, to me. I'm wondering if anybody who is not a native English speaker could chime in. Like for you, do you notice a big difference between British English and American English? Um, if I'm just going by numbers, if I'm just going by culture, I would say that the United States has a little bit more of a like an umbrella of influence, where like with our Hollywood movies and whatever. So I guess my short answer would be probably go with the American accent, but it's the words we use, American, British, there are only a couple that are that different. Now you can go into some parts of the UK, the United Kingdom, and their accents I think are difficult even for Americans to understand, even maybe even somebody from London. But for the most part, I don't think we speak that differently. So, but I'd say United States probably. Go with America. America. Great question, Marina. Heard the expression long shot. What does that mean? It means fat chance, which is another idiom. It means unlikely to happen. Long shot. Let's say little guy in high school, he wants to date this beautiful girl, but it's a long shot. He doesn't have much of a chance. And that comes from horse racing with people betting on horses. So if you try to bet on a long shot, a horse that's probably not going to win, you can win more money, but it's a little risky. So it's a long shot. It's a long shot that the coronavirus will be over by the end of April in the United States. That's a long shot. Probably not going to happen. We're going to have to wait a few more months, I think. Long shot. So hopefully that makes sense there. Angie, thank you. Native American told me it doesn't. Okay. So, so for that, when you say a Native American, I am automatically thinking of an American who was here or whose ancestors were here before white people, before Europeans. So for Native Americans, we say they used to be called Indians, Native Americans. So I'm not sure, do you mean like it's native English speaker or something? It's weird to say that, right? Native English speaker. So Native American told me that it doesn't sound right. We say more easy, but the right one is easier. Wondering why. That's a good question. I always say easier. No, I believe it's like, oh, it's easier to do this than to do that. Easier. I don't think more easy is correct. That's more easy. I don't know. For some of those, we do have. I'm trying to think of one that's like, it's more likely. Yeah, so it's like it's more likely to happen. We wouldn't say it's likelier to happen. More likely, but I'm almost positive easier is the way to go. I think more slowly sounds better, but you can say slower. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I would go easier. I'd keep it easy and say easier, more easy. It's more nah, that doesn't sound right. More easy does just not doesn't sound right. Andrew, number 4, another good question. And I remember reading this one. I honestly don't know. The question is, are there any available online job opportunities where I can practice my English and earn some money? If there is, I don't know of any. I'm sorry. I don't. Hmm, I don't know any. Saeed. Have you noticed my Wi-Fi is okay? Yesterday I complained to the company. Oh, is it better today? Your Wi-Fi? That's good. Mine's better today too. And I don't know if finally the upgrade we had kicked in or what, but yeah, the online Yale classes, I watch those sometimes. It's good stuff. There's so much out there that people are putting up for free. I'm a big Shakespeare buff. I'm going to mention that in my next one video on the presidents because we have history buffs. If you're ever like a real big fan of something, you can say buff, Buff. So it seems like I make videos for grammar geeks and then I make videos for history buffs. So people that like history. And I'm also a Shakespeare buff. I teach Shakespeare every other year at my school. I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. So there's a couple, I can't remember her name. There's a Harvard professor. She's written some great books on Shakespeare. She also does a lot of online classes. It's great. It's free. It's just if you like knowledge, we live in a great time. You have access to so much stuff. But too academic, maybe. Yeah, for sure. And Andrew, before you ask it, I think it was your number 9 question. It was like, what about for your 3-year-old? How to get him, your son, into English? Man, I'm like a 3-year-old learning Italian, and I watch Peppa Pig all the time, and they are on in English. And Peppa Pig, great thing about Peppa Pig, 3-minute stories, beginning, middle, and an end. And it's like, unfortunately, the YouTube for the Italian has a commercial like every 3 minutes, and then you have to just make sure you skip that ad or your son might be sitting through like 4 minutes of commercials every 3 minutes. But I don't know, for me, Peppa Pig's great. Love it. In Italy, if you touch one of your students, you can be sued by the family, fired from the school. True. In the United States as well, which is, but if they are threatening somebody else and they are going to do harm to somebody else, I would put myself in the way so they hit me first. And then I can defend myself. 20 years of teaching, I never have had to. Don't plan on ever having to. But I want to get hit over one of my other students. So, and then the law does protect me. But that's all right if you're late. Actually, you know what? I went on early. So just because I went on a little early because some people were just kind of here and I was all set up. So I'm like, let's go early. Whatever. Yeah, Andrew, those are great questions. Great questions. Hello Talk, man. Yeah, I love that thing. Hello Talk's great. Woo. Chat just moved on me. There's a good question here. Okay. I have a question. What's the difference between hurry up and rush? Nothing. Nothing at all. Those can be used interchangeably, to use a fancy term. You can use those however you want. If you're late for something, you could tell someone, hey, hurry up. You wouldn't say to rush to a person. You wouldn't say rush, rush. You wouldn't say that, but I'm going to be late. I have to hurry up. I'm going to be late. I have to rush. So, or don't rush. You're not going to be late. Don't rush. Take your time. So for the most part, they mean the exact same thing. But if you're going to tell someone like, hey, hurry up, that's fine. Don't say rush, rush, rush. That doesn't sound right, but they pretty much mean the same. Wei Chen, what's going on, man? What? Can you please correct this paragraph? Yeah, sure, Aroni, come on. Why stop at the paragraph? Just the whole page. Let's do that. The whole page. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad that was helpful. Imad's here? Is that true? Or is that an imaginary friend you made up? Imad? I don't see an Imad in here. Oh yeah, I do. Hey Imad from Syria. Spelled it differently there. Imad, right? Imad? With an E, not an I. Okay. Imad, what's going on? Welcome. Let's see. Привет. Привет. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Привет. That's all I can say. Oh, and Russian. What else can I say? Babushka. Babushka. Say that. Нет. Нет, babushka. That's some Russian right there, right? No, grandma. I think that's what I'm saying. No, grandma. Нет, babushka. Нет. I wish I knew Russian. It sounds so much more powerful than English. Нет. I think it's from watching all the movies about Stalin. It's like, let's see. Привет. Привет. Oh, привет. Good. I'll keep saying that then. Привет. Привет. What's the difference between food and foods? What's the difference between food and foods? I would almost say you would never use foods. I have some good foods here. I would always stick with the singular for that. But you could say, like, most times you would just use food. If you're talking about a whole group of food, that's all the same, maybe? I don't know. Can you use it in a sentence? Because I think almost always it's food, just food. I'm going to go get some food. I'm not going to get some foods. That doesn't sound right. You might hear food stuff. I never use that term, but food stuff is mostly for things that are essential, that are very necessary. Like I need to stock up on my food stuff, but I would just stick with food, singular, to be honest. Imad. Syria, you're from Syria? It's cool. Awesome. Bob the Canadian. I like that guy, Bob the Canadian. Yeah, I did watch him. He did the one about pets. He's a good teacher, and I watch him a lot to see what should I do. I think we're a little bit different, and he's a little bit more proper. And I don't mind saying "привет," "привет." Not that that's not proper, but I think I just kind of have a little bit more fun, and I don't mind making a fool of myself if I have to or whatever, just to make a joke or whatever. But he's very good at what he does. He's been doing it a long time, so I try to watch other people to see how they do on camera. So he's very good. Yes, there are different pronunciations. Different pronunciations. Oh, you do? Oh, okay. That's what you're talking about. Oh, a big difference between British and American English. I would like to think we say things a little bit more clearly. More clearly. There's one of those things like more, would you say more easy? So more clearly is how we would say that. Yeah, I think we say things a little more clearly, but of course I'm very biased because I've been speaking American English my whole life. Angie, there are some differences with the grammar and the spelling. So for like organize, they would spell it with an S. We spell it with a Z. Some of those endings, but yeah, I guess I'm just kind of used to it. But yeah, maybe that is something you would have to consider. But think about all of the movies that come out every year. How many British movies are there? There's like James Bond, right? That's it. The Spice Girl movie, like 20 years ago, and then James Bond. That's about it for British. And then the James Bond movie, was pushed back. So yeah, learn American English. Don't worry too much about British English. Irish English. Oh, I would say, yeah. I think even as an American native English speaker, yeah, Irish. Top of the morning to you. I don't even know how they look at the Irish. They have a strange. No, I wouldn't say strange. They have a unique accent. There's a little bit different connotation there. If I say strange, it's almost like it's a bad connotation. Let's call it unique. It's different. It's different. All right, quite difficult. What? Free YouTuber? Dude, he's a spammer, right? Free YouTuber? That doesn't even sound like a real name. Did you hear about Globish? No, I didn't. Gotta put this guy in timeout, I think. Free to be or not to be. Oh, that makes sense. That is Shakespeare, to be or not to be. But it's a question. It's Hamlet, right? Hamlet. Yeah, Andrew, I thought you had some more questions there that were good. So just let me know. Free YouTuber. Are you real? Are you real or are you a spammer? All right. Native English speaker. Yeah, native English speaker. Okay. I studied American English for 8 years before going to college. In college, I had to study British English. Why? That was awful. Why did they make you do that? And if I spoke American English, I failed oral tests. I would drop out of college if they made me do that. Just drop out. Find a different college. Wait, and you're from Argentina. It has America in the title. It's in South America. You should be teaching or learning British English, American English. That's awful. All right, yeah, Andrew, anytime, man, anytime. Syria, yeah, interested in Syria. I heard there are some places in Syria that are coming back. One of the YouTubers that I follow for traveling, can't remember which one. He was in there recently, within the last like 3 months. He said that there are pockets, little places in Syria where things are getting a lot better. Peppa Pig. Yeah, I like it. Peppa Pig. You can also print out the transcripts for Peppa Pig, I believe, which is what I do. Or sometimes I'll literally just stop it. I put on the subtitles. They're not always accurate in Italian, but I'll try to figure out what Peppa Pig is saying. I know George and his dinosaur always in every episode. Peppa Pig, though, she is a little bit much for me. She's like always wants things her way. I don't think she's a great big sister. So I would not want her as a child. I would not want her in my classroom. But to watch her on TV, it's not so bad. All right, so free YouTuber. Maybe somebody knows what he's saying. If he is swearing in Russian or Ukrainian, please let me know. I'll put him in timeout. I'll get rid of him. So I put my wife in timeout on the last live stream. She came in, made fun of the mattress I have in the back there. So I put her in timeout. 300 seconds. You can't say anything. It's what? It's out here. Could you share some online resources to learn American English? Man, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a good one. But he's Canadian, so he's not American. I'm sure there are other YouTubers that speak American English. I think there are some podcasts, especially if you're intermediate. Podcasts are great where you don't need that transcript. You can just listen. And I believe there are some other American podcasts. I do have one. It's called same one as this, Learn American English with this guy. But I speak more slowly on that one. And lately, I've been putting my YouTube videos on that podcast. I haven't done a podcast simply for the podcast in a while, so it's probably the same. It just is a little bit more convenient if people want to walk around. So, for YouTuber, smiley faces, that's good. It's good. I just don't want you swearing in Russian or English? Oh, I think I know a Russian swear. It's not so bad though. Is it blin? Blin. Is that it? It's a mild swear, I think. Like if you have a car that won't work, a Lada. Lada. I like Ladas. I talked with someone from Russia and they're like, oh, that's a crap car. I'm like, yeah, but it's sweet. I would like a Lada. I don't know how I would get it fixed if it broke down, but oh, thanks. Started listening to my podcast. Thanks. Oh yeah, Norma. Must be nice to be speaking several languages. And when people ask me, they're like, a lot of times, like, well, why are you learning Italian? I don't think they mean it, mean. I think they just are curious. They're like, well, I just want to learn another language. But I think a lot of people are learning English for a reason, either for a job or to move to the United States. A lot of English speakers, they don't learn any other languages simply because they don't have to. But then if I want to get to know the culture, last year I made the decision, oh, I should learn Italian. For a second, my family was like, hey, let's go to Italy. And for like 1 week, I was like, okay, so if we're going to go on a trip to Italy, I'd like to learn Italian. And then they changed their mind. They're like, oh, let's go somewhere else. We were going to go to Mexico, but when the coronavirus came. But I'm going to keep learning Italian. It's pretty cool. And I think it might lead to Spanish and Portuguese and Romanian, maybe. Who knows? Not many people speak Romanian, though, but it's a cool language. French, of course. Russian sounds really rude. That's cool. It's all right. It's all right to be rude sometimes. Ukrainian is way more pleasant to listen to. There's this guy, what's his name? Lang Focus on YouTube. And he did a couple weeks ago how different Russian and Ukrainian were. So, and is it true? I think most Ukrainians can speak Russian, but probably not most Russians can speak Ukrainian, which makes sense. Can you recommend how to find a native? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay. I'm hoping that there are enough English speakers who want to learn Arabic. I mean, I would love to learn Arabic, but there's just so much time. I do have a book on how to learn Arabic, but I don't think I'll be getting around to that soon. But yeah, I don't know. I just guess just ask people on Hello Talk, maybe find a language partner. I don't know. English. Oh, yes, Marina. If you ever watched that English with TV series, check that out because they'll take a Friends episode and kind of dissect the dialogue. I think some movies even. That's a really good one. Yeah. I think when we go to a restaurant, we can say, what foods do you have here? Yeah. What foods do you have here? Maybe. That kind of stumped me a little bit. So I'm sitting down. What foods do you have here? I don't know. I would probably say it. I'd probably say it a little bit differently. Like I might say, "What do you suggest?" You could ask the server what they like, but I wouldn't say, "What foods do you have here?" To be honest, what foods do you have here? What would I say? Um, can you show me the menu? Maybe something like that. Can I see the menu? Or you could ask, what what foods do you specialize in? Okay, foods, S with an S. So, excuse me, what foods do you specialize in here? So, yeah, it's good. Good point. Good point. For YouTuber, I'm watching you for YouTuber. You did the smiley faces and you've done the thumb. Okay. I'm looking for blin. Blin. Is that even right? Is that even a swear word in Russian? Blin. Blin. This car is blin. All right. Yeah, I can see that in Europe. You talk British English more. Just you're so close to the Brits. I don't know. You should uprise and say, no, only American English. Maybe. Students learn British English in Russia. Why? Why? I mean, they are the originals. You know, it is called English. They are in England, but uh, someone from Kazakhstan, maybe. Yeah, Kazakh, quite a bit different from Russian, right? But most Kazakhs can speak Russian, I would think. I like it, Igor. I like it. Igor from Ukraine. We should invent some new distinct word for American English. Start to call it not English, but something like Americanlish. Americalish. I like that. It almost sounds like delicious. Americalish. It's Americalish. Good. Free YouTuber. Okay, free YouTuber from Kazakhstan. All right. What does that mean, free YouTuber? Is anybody actually paying for YouTube? I do. Instead of cable, we got rid of our cable, and now we have YouTube TV, which is pretty sweet. But this should be free. You shouldn't have to pay for YouTube. If you are, you're getting ripped off. Tell them you want your money back. You shouldn't have to pay for this. This is free. Speak English with Vanessa is awesome. Okay. Speak English with Vanessa is awesome. I have a Toyota. Free YouTuber. How do you know I have a Toyota? But I want a lot. I want a Lada. Andrew doesn't like Ladas. Okay. My wife is cool. Her sense of humor is perfect. I was laughing a lot yesterday when she came in the chat, and I am not going to tell her that. I am not going to say you think she's cool, because that's only going to encourage her to come back in here, and I will have to block her again. So I don't know if you can hear that. My daughter is laughing in the other room. I don't know why. She's really laughing about something. I don't know why. All right, Igor, I'm going to forget you said that. Free YouTuber, emoji of a car. Thank you. Hey, Marina, thanks for your question. I'm going to save here. Oh, good. Syria. Man, I'd love to visit Syria one day too. If you are a human, that's probably where we originated from, right? Like somewhere around Syria. We need to go back. Oh, blocked. Is that why they're laughing? We are just gonna put her in timeout for right now. I just put her in timeout. And Ansley Watson, that's my daughter. Bye bye. You would think that they would have excuse me, better things to do than to watch me. The next time it'll be bye-bye. I will kick you out. I will boot you. Yeah, I can imagine why there might be a little bit of tension between Ukraine and Russia. I can imagine. For you, is he spamming? Is he spamming here? I mean, I'm gonna ignore my family. They think they're so clever. Surprised my son is not in here either. Ansley Watson, bye-bye. I'm actually booting her for spamming. All right, bilingual. Okay. Now I'm all nervous now that English people are listening to me. Bleen? I don't know how to say that, Andrew. Bleen. Like Bleen though. Yeah. Oh, you can hear her laughing. Oh, won't hear her anymore. Bye-bye. No, Igor. No, don't. No. Hyperbole. Weechen, thank you so much for getting the chat back to where it should be. Hyperbole. And if you look at the way he wrote that, it looks like you would pronounce it hyperbole, but it's hyperbole. And it means exaggeration. Exaggeration. So for instance, but there's usually an element of truth to it. So I could say to my daughter, whose room is a mess, I've told you a million times to clean this room up. So I probably told her a dozen times. I might have told her 12 times to clean up the room. I didn't tell her a million, so I'm exaggerating. Or if you have a bag, a book bag, a backpack, and you're walking home from school, and you could say like, oh, this bag weighs a ton. So it doesn't literally weigh 2,500 pounds. It's heavy, so you're exaggerating. No, it doesn't weigh a ton. Maybe it weighs 10 pounds, but it doesn't weigh a ton. Okay. Hopefully that helps for hyperbole. Is that it for the chat? Did we come to the end of the chat? I don't have anything else to talk about. Going almost an hour. All right. Okay, Andrew, bye-bye. Leaving. Oh, okay, Wei Chen. Almost, okay. He is asking, the needle is small as we can't see. Yeah, I would not use it that way. How would I say, if you want to see the needle, saying that it's small, Aroni, you're next, buddy. Time out. Almost. Okay, this sentence, the needle is as small as we can't see. Could you say that? The needle is so small we can't see it, maybe? The needle is so small we can't see it. How about that? The needle's so small we can't see it. I like that one. Ansley, don't clean up your room. We need to get out of this quarantine, don't we? Like everybody needs to for many different reasons, but I don't hear them laughing anymore. I believe they've gotten bored because they can't spam me. Okay, good. That's better. Yeah, the needle's so small we can't see it. Nice. All right. Anything else? Okay, I'm with you. I'm just watching. All right. I mean, I can talk by myself, but up. Ooh. Oh, Ralphie, that's a good question. That preposition up, especially like when we use it for cleaning up. Yeah, there's no reason to do it. I'm going to go clean my room. You could say that. But a lot of Americans tend to say, hey, I'm going to clean up this room. Why don't you clean up your room, Ansley? We should. I should walk over into her room because I can, because I'm the dad. Walk over there, show you. Actually, it might not be messy right now. Sometimes it is, though. She's still laughing, so she must be watching. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know why we do. I don't know why we need to put that up in there all the time, because we simply could say, clean your room. Go clean your room. But we like to say, clean up your room. I don't know. Baf, what's going on, man? Welcome. We were waiting. Ibrahim, what's going on, man? Oh, yes. Shield. To each their own. To each their own. That pretty much means like, I don't agree with you, but to each their own. You do it your way. I'll do it my way. I'm not mad. No hard feelings. To each their own. I mean, some people might say it with a little bit of an attitude, like, okay, to each their own. You know, they could be saying it a little sarcastically, but that's what that means. Like, okay, I'm going to believe my way. You believe your way. To each their own. To each their own. In timeout for 300 seconds. All right, could you please tell us a little bit about the word pawn and show us some examples to use it? Well, we always say once upon a time when we're starting off a fairy tale. Once upon a time, a pawn. I would say we probably don't use a pawn as much as British English. Pawn. I can't think of one. Because even when you say like, I'm going to go up on the stage, it's actually up, UP, on, not a pawn. Pawn. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't think we say a pawn that much. Pawn. I think it's British. Oh gosh, that looks like a tough one. Is there a difference between the words close to, nearby, besides? It's a great question. I would say that close to, but to be honest, there isn't a whole lot of difference between next to, besides, and nearby. I dare say you could use any of those interchangeably because even nearby doesn't mean beside. So beside means there's probably nothing in between them. And nearby and to be near and to be close, pretty much the same thing. It's a very good question. Call your daughter to say hello to her. I don't I don't really want to do that. You must still be watching. Ansley, did you want to come in here? Okay, I'm going to watch. Okay, right now there are 23 viewers. I'm going to watch the viewers go down. Okay, this is Ansley. She's just laughing. Do you want to say, and you want to take a question?
Sure.
How old is she?
I'm 14.
Don't lie.
I'm 14, Dad.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's 14. It's time to clean this mess up now. I think this guy, free YouTuber, I think he's spamming. He's almost going to get put in timeout. I don't know. Yeah, 14. I understand. Thanks. Keep your informal style. It's more natural and spontaneous. All right, good. Okay. Do you have any answers you would like to do here? What would you say is the difference between next to and beside?
Nothing.
Pretty much the same thing, right? I think you could use it pretty much the same thing. See, for YouTuber, he is speaking. That looks Greek. I think he's speaking in Greek. Please, she said, "What a beautiful girl." Please don't. She's gonna get all a big head, and she's gonna think, "Oh, I'm great." We like to try to keep her humble around here. Tell her all the things that she's doing poorly. Are you in high school?
No, I'm in middle school, 8th grade, almost in high school though.
And then ninth grade. So next year, actually, this morning you picked out. We're starting to pick out your classes.
High school classes.
Yeah. So far, the viewers, we had 23 before you got here. We still have 23. That's a good sign. People aren't running away. Aroni says, "Hey, Ansley." Okay. Hi from Italy. Hi, you are funny.
He's talking about me.
Talking about me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your daughter's pretty cute. Rolfie, how old are you, by the way? Blocked. Blocked. She looks like her dad. She looks like her dad.
No,
She's lucky. She's lucky. Oh, your daughter's so cute and beautiful. Why are people saying all these good things about you? Oh, can you sing? What, to go down?
And then it went back up.
Oh,
It's
okay.
good.
Can you sing for us?
No.
That would be awkward, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awkward.
I don't like singing for my dad.
Right, I can leave. Roll Tide. Free YouTuber. I need to make you an administrator now. Roll Tide?
He
read that. Okay, at least you're not going into. Okay,
It went up.
It went up to 24. Okay, nice. Oh, why is she an administrator? She's blocked. Jamie Watson blocked. All right. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, sometimes on the videos I make, like occasionally she can be heard, maybe a little bit on the video, but my microphone kind of blocks it out. So, all right. Thank you for inviting your cool daughter. She's cool. She's invited. Now she's uninvited. Get out of here. No, you don't have to leave. But, okay.
I was scared for my Zoom.
Oh, yeah. She actually has a class. Thanks for coming in, Ansley.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was very nice. At least nobody bashed her. But hey, we're down to 20. We're down to 20. So she lost a couple viewers for us. But all right, thank you for inviting your cool daughter. Yeah, she's pretty cool. I don't tell her that often, but she's pretty cool. Oh, that's so nice of you. So nice of you. She could teach English too. Yes, yes. In lockdown, New York City is New York. Is that what you're asking? Is New York City in lockdown? So the interesting thing about that, excuse me, can you really hear her during the videos? The interesting thing about the United States, and it might be like it might cost us some lives, but the interesting thing about the United States is that each state is a little bit different, and we do really value our freedom. And some of the things that happen in China, where if somebody became infected with the coronavirus, they wouldn't go back to their house. They would be quarantined somewhere separate so they wouldn't infect the rest of their family. In the United States, and I think in a lot of places in Europe, even I think not many governments are like the government in China, where they do have a bit of freedom, but also they can lock it down. So we even have some states in the US that aren't under what's called stay at home orders. And I know I was talking with someone in India, like the police will physically rough you up if you aren't taking the quarantine seriously. So that might be one of the things that hurts us, is that we still have a fair amount of freedom in the United States. Like, and I can still go outside. I have a stay at home order, but I can still go outside and run. And not that I run, but if I ran, I could run, walk. But in China, it's much more authoritarian, I think we would say. Like they have more authority. So I don't know. Let's see. All right, Wei Chen, see you later for YouTuber. We were very curious. She's really cool. They're still talking about my daughter? Come on. All right. Oh yeah, Wei Chen, you live in the United States. Do you live in New York City? Says I was living in New York City, but yeah, there wasn't a lockdown in the city. So the governor and the mayor, Governor Cuomo of New York and Mayor de Blasio, they were asking the police to get a little bit tougher, but they wouldn't ever beat anybody up. I don't know, maybe arrest them. It hasn't come to that in this country yet, but we've never experienced anything like this. So who knows? Oh, Buff, you're also close to New York City. I'm about 6 hours. Like I could get into my car and drive 6 hours to New York City. Obviously, I don't want to, but I'd be afraid. Yeah, it's all good. No, my family's cool. They are way cooler than I am. So there's no doubt about that. Thank you, Igor. Oh, half an hour away. So do you live in New York State? Because a half an hour away could be literally like New York State, maybe Connecticut, or even New Jersey. So when we blocked, when we go to New York City, we often park in Connecticut and then take the train in. It's just easier that way. You don't need a car in New York City. So, okay, Ralphie. Nowadays, we've been hearing over and over words like outbreak, quarantine, pandemic, lockdown, and curfew. Would it be helpful if I explained each of those? Because some of them are a little bit different. I can do that. Since there are no other questions, maybe somebody else has that question, even if you weren't asking the question. So, Ralphie, we've been hearing over and over words like outbreak. So when you talk about the virus, the virus is spreading. There is an outbreak. Spreading and outbreak, pretty much the same. Outbreak. Outbreak might be a little bit more forceful than spreading, along the same lines. Quarantine and lockdown. In this country, quarantine is probably different from lockdown because nobody in the United States is not allowed to at least go shopping for food, go shopping for medicine. A lockdown, I think, in the truest sense, would be more into your house, like you can't leave, lockdown. So I don't think we have a lockdown in this country necessarily, because people are always free to leave only when necessary. But I know in Italy that you have to write down where you're going and you can only leave once a week. Don't think anywhere in the United States has gotten that strict. That might be considered a lockdown. But a curfew, that's a great question. Parents can sometimes have curfews for their kids, like you need to be home by 11 o'clock tonight, curfew. Same thing for a city. They might have a curfew where you can't be on the street from like when the sun goes down until the sun goes up, maybe a curfew. That happens in the United States sometimes when there's a lot of violence. A couple of years ago, the city of Baltimore, it was pretty violent because of a lot of racial differences going on. So sometimes there's a curfew. When the sun goes down, you need to be in your house. Curfew. Lockdown. A pandemic and an epidemic are very similar. Epidemic is when a large part of the world is being affected by a virus or by a disease. Epidemic. Like Ebola was an epidemic. I don't believe it ever reached a pandemic. SARS, epidemic. Pandemic, it affects the entire world. I believe in 2009, the swine flu, the N1H1, that was an epidemic. It didn't kill as many people. Pandemic. It was a pandemic. So as far as I know, it doesn't have anything to do with death, though. It has to do with affecting people, being sick. And a pandemic affects the entire world, while an epidemic will be more central to a part of the world. Okay. Another good question here. Are down to earth and sensitive the same thing? No. Down to earth means that this person doesn't have an ego. They're pretty chill. We sometimes say that. They're easygoing, down to earth. So maybe somebody who is like in power, maybe like a boss, but that boss really cares about their workers. They often visit, ask about their family. That's down to earth. That's chill. They don't have like a big ego. Sensitive is quite a bit different. That means sometimes we'll say they have a thin skin. They don't take a joke too well. If they're sensitive, they might easily get their feelings hurt. So sensitive, like delicate, be careful how you speak to this person because it might hurt their feelings. I hope that helps. So they're quite a bit different, down to earth and sensitive. Can you please tell us how to become a lawmaker in the United States? Is it available for any citizen? Okay. So to become a lawmaker, are you meaning like a politician, a lawmaker? Because if you want to become president, you just have to have like a reality show and then possibly you could become president. Some of the laws about or rules about becoming president is you have to be born in the United States. So if you are born anywhere else besides the United States, you cannot become president. You have to be at least 35 years old to become a president. Is it available to any citizen? So if you are a felon, which means you were convicted of a severe crime, you cannot run for office. You can't even vote. At the state level, there are age requirements. I'm not as sure if at the state level you can become a lawmaker at 18, there might be a certain age restriction on that. I'm not sure of, but yeah, certainly most adults, if they want to run for office, they have to be elected. More people have to vote for this person than another person. But yeah, it's open to just about everybody. Like I said, criminals, no, but most people, depending on the level, because we have city and state and nationwide. But for the most part, yeah, almost anybody can become a lawmaker. Oh, Abraham, I explained those words. I think that's right. Yeah, the coronavirus spread is very strong for sure. Yeah, epidemic and pandemic. Did that make sense? Lock down the city might be better. It might be. Might save some lives. Yeah. Can I give examples of the word spread everyday life? I sure can. In the United States, Americans, we love peanut butter. Peanut butter. I know not everyone in the rest of the world likes it, but you could take your knife and spread the peanut butter on the bread. People could spread their arms out, spread. So basically, anytime you have like two things coming apart, just thinking spread. What else? We actually have something called a bedspread. A bedspread where, so I knew this bed would come in handy, this mattress. You could put a bedspread over it. It would be like the top cover, and you could spread it out to make it all flat. So, hope that helps. Yeah, and then the virus can spread. The virus can spread. You could have a rip, and that could spread. A tear in your pants, and it could spread. Oh, yeah. Have you seen that? Yes, Bill Gates. There is a TED Talk. It's always right, like suggested for me, pretty high up in my timeline or whatever you call it. And I did watch that as well. And I think a lot of people knew that we could face a pandemic at one point or not or another, because in 2003 was that SARS, then you had MERS. So what I hear is that the more humans go into other animal habitats, like clearing rainforests and whatnot, but most of these seem to come from like Asia, Southeast Asia, Northeast Asia, that kind of place, China maybe. But the more that humans and animals interact, the more likely it is for these new pandemics to start, because they do come from animals, and then for whatever reason, they don't spread just from animal to animal or animal to human. A mutation happens, and now they are spreading from human to human. So, but it's one thing to just kind of know that there is a possibility of a pandemic. And I know in the United States, I think lawmakers were busy. Okay, let's fix these roads. Let's fix other things, knowing that this could happen. But I think it's really hard to put a lot of money into fighting a potential pandemic when there are so many other things that are happening, and we dodged so many other bullets, like SARS. It was contained. It's just small area. So don't worry about spending money on it. A lot of these were contained. Now, of course, there will be money set aside for the next pandemic, but it's almost like something bad has to happen before at least Americans are willing to put in money that they might think is unnecessary. That's my thoughts on that. All right. Leaving now. Aroni. Just so you can make fun of him. Wait, let me read that again. Jamie, you should do a PE lesson with Brent just to make fun of him. That would be entertaining for you at my expense. Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Where is it at here? Oh, pandemic. All right. I hope I'm saying that correctly. That's how I say it. Pandemic. Pandemic. All right. Good. Thank you. Good explanation. Plus listening to. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, this live lesson will stay in here. I'm not sure who's going to want to watch it, but it will be here. It will be available. All right. When can we say might and when can we use may? I almost think you can use those interchangeably. Like, I might go out today. I may go out today. May is a little bit more proper, maybe a little more British, but I think you can use either one. Yeah, it might rain today. It may rain today. It may not. It might not. Pretty much interchangeably, almost always. I think in the United States we might say might more, and maybe in England they say may. It may rain. Not sure. It may rain. So I think they might say may a little bit more, but I'm not sure. Pandemic spread. Okay, the pandemic is spreading rapidly. The whole situation has escalated way too fast. Yeah, Ralphie, that's that first sentence right there. The pandemic is spreading rapidly. Nice work. You have spreading, which is the verb. You have rapidly, which is describing the adjective. So therefore, it is an adverb. That second sentence, I would just change it a little bit, Ralphie. I would say the whole situation has escalated way too quickly. That's what I would say. Okay. That's good though. This whole yeah, sorry. Escalated. Way too quickly? Yeah. Way too. The whole situation has escalated way too quickly. All right. Trying to make it perfect. That's great. So I would just change that. Instead of saying fast, when you use it as an adverb, I would say quickly instead. So all right, I lost my place. Sorry. Sorry, this makes for horrible TV right here. Okay. Oh, okay. There weren't that many there. All right. Exactly. British English is weird. I agree, Anna. It's weird. Everybody should just speak American English. My friend Iman. Oh, very nice. Imad. But I think you spelled that. Is it a boy or a girl? A man or a woman? I think Imad spells their name with an E, but you spell it with an I. So are you really that close friends? If you spell their name wrong? I don't know. I'm curious. I think it's with an E, right? English can affect the social study. I'm not sure what that means. The English can affect the social study. Not sure. Why quickly instead of fast? I'm not sure if it's too fast. You might be able to use too fast. I just like the way quickly sounds a little bit better, but has escalated too fast. Doesn't sound right to me. Escalated too quickly. But you could say that person is going too fast. That makes sense. So I'll try not to forget that. I wouldn't worry too much about memorizing a particular sentence, but maybe the more you hear it, the more you'll understand. But the only major thing was, I think, escalated. Not sure what you wrote, but escalated is that word that means going up. We have these stairs that go up on their own in airports. We call those escalators. I'm not sure what you call it in your language, but escalator. Or you could say, whoa, this situation has escalated quickly. Escalated. All right. Okay, free YouTuber. I don't think you're a spammer after all. I think you're legit. You're still here. Nice. Thank you. Welcome. Where are you from, YouTuber? Because I think I saw you, free YouTuber. I think I saw you writing maybe Russian and then maybe Greek, and now you're typing in English. Maybe you are trilingual. Maybe you're multilingual. Maybe you can speak more than one language. Brent, do you have some students in your school who are not Americans but from other cultures, meaning like immigrants? Right. So where I used to work in Portland, Maine, we had 7 languages that were translated for parents because there were so many immigrants from. We had people from Angola who spoke Portuguese. We had Cambodians. We had Somalis. Trying to think of the others. We had some Chinese immigrants. Now, a lot of the students were born in this country, spoke perfect English. Not all, but in my town, we had a lot of people come from Somalia about 20 years ago. So now it's mostly only the parents who aren't totally like perfect with English, but their kids all speak perfect English. In my town, it's mostly Somali, Sudanese. At my school, maybe 5%. Where I used to teach, it was like 25%. So, yeah, all variants of English are unique, interesting. I think so too. It's pretty cool. We ever talked? Oh, I talked the last contest. I talked to Alex from Iraq. I talked to him. It's a good conversation. I haven't heard from him since. And then the other guy's name was Jean-Michel, I think. And I've reached out to him a couple times. I owe him a half-hour conversation, but I haven't heard back from him. So yes and no. I haven't. The other contest winner I haven't heard from. I would like to. It was fun talking with Alex, that's for sure. All right, okay. Do you watch The Good Doctor? No, I haven't seen that show. Right now, my wife and I, and my daughter, we are watching this show called Tiger King. It is crazy. I don't know if anybody from Italy is in here, but I was talking with someone before, and I think they called it un sacco pazzo, like a sack of crazy. And that's like a great way. If you have Tiger King streaming on Netflix anywhere and you want to see the worst of America, put that on. The people who love big cats like tigers, cougars, they found a bunch of people and they are crazy, crazy. Is Boston a bit of a racist city? As a white person, it's really hard for me to comment on racism because I bet I don't see half of what goes on. I know from reading like Facebook comments, and like in my town, we have a good percentage of people who are racist. So I'm assuming if I see some of it, it's even more racist. Boston has had a history of being racist in the past. Not sure if it happens, but I think if you are in the United States and you are not white, you know, if you are from Asian descent or if you're from African descent or Hispanic descent, I think you will eventually find someone who is racist. So I would say short answer, yes. a lot of places in the United States, they have enough people who are racist to make it feel like everybody is racist. So just my opinion, and it's hard as a white guy to comment on that. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I do think so. I do think so. But I don't think the United States is unique in that. I think almost everywhere where you have different races, it's just natural for some people to think, oh, they're different. Ignorance, they just haven't. When I work, in a school where immigrants have been, for 20 years, and I've seen people are people. There's no real difference. We all basically want the same thing. And guess what? If there is a jerk in the group, there's as many jerks in the other group. So, but I think it's just ignorance. People read the paper too much or look on Facebook too much. And so probably a little bit racist everywhere. Can you help to clarify while, meanwhile, in the meantime, and how to use these words? That's a great question. While. I dare say that they are all. Okay. No, they're not actually. It's a tough one, man. All right. While. The first one. While means it's happening at the same time. So I am going to brush my teeth while what else can you do while you brush your teeth? While you drink this glass of water. That'd be awkward. But if you do that, it's at the same time. When you use something like in the meantime, it's almost like there's another action going on. And in the meantime, you'll do this. So while I wait for my steak to cook, in the meantime, I'll go watch Tiger King. So while means it's like two events happening at the same time, I think mostly. And then in the meantime, there's one event that's going on and you're going to occupy yourself doing something else. I hope that makes sense. We ask you so many different questions and my brain is actually getting tired. There's no question. I like doing this, but that question right there, clarify while, meanwhile, and in the meantime, because they're so similar, but yet they're not similar. Oh, we are guys. I say we're very close friends. All right. That's cool. Syria and yeah, is it? Yeah, I have the same question. Marina, I have the same question. All right. We need to know about the current situation in the United States. Daily warnings of Trump. Please enlighten us. Now, I could talk about that a little bit now. And Trump, he said, and I think I've said it before, in the United States, there are so many people that love Trump and that hate Trump. And there aren't a lot of people in the middle. I think it's tough to blame everything completely on him. I think he's messed up some stuff. I think a lot of people have messed up some stuff. I think this whole pandemic caught a lot of people by surprise all over the world. I mean, it's hard for me to completely blame Trump when you see other countries like Iran and Italy and Spain. It'll be interesting what happens to England too, and France, where you have these really like secure governments. I mean, there's nothing wrong with these governments. You think they're prepared for most things, and it's catching everybody by surprise. So it's hard for me to blame Trump, but then he says stupid things like by Easter. I mean, that's like in 2 weeks. I want the churches full. Like, really? Like, don't say that. You're the president. People listen to you. People believe you. I mean, maybe less and less people are believing him, but so yeah, it's kind of broken. I think he could have done a better job. I think he's trying. I don't know. Yeah, the current situation in the U.S. So where I live in Maine, 6 hours away from New York, like there, I think we're climbing for the coronavirus, but we literally have like 11 people hospitalized. I think there have actually been 7 people who have been killed. Most of them were in their 80s. We haven't seen health workers getting the coronavirus quite yet. So we're still pretty early in there. But the coronavirus was first detected over 3 weeks ago, and we're still under 400 cases in the whole state. So my situation is very different from New York, what is just like ground zero, which is like the epicenter. Like awful things are happening. Yesterday, I mean, it's replaying Italy all over again. They brought in like refrigerator trucks, big, long refrigerator trucks to keep bodies. Like they know this week, next week, the week after, maybe for the next month, they're going to be piling up bodies in the hospital. New Orleans, I'm not sure if you've heard of that city. That city is about to blow up. They, I think, had Mardi Gras, which is the beginning of February, and they think that was when a lot of people got sick, and you're going to start seeing it increase. Detroit, Michigan, apparently could be another hot spot. But it seems, hopefully, fingers crossed, California out west might not get as bad. Fingers crossed, maybe not. I worry about Florida, though. Florida just went to stay at home today. Before they were having restaurants open and stuff. Florida is a state in the south, like all the way at the bottom. It's where Disney World is or Disneyland, and they have a very old population, a lot like Northern Italy. Florida might be the next New York, which of course is the next Italy. So who knows? I don't know. But it vastly differs depending on what state you're in. If you're in the Midwest or like Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, like they're seeing very few cases. Colorado, I think, is starting to see more. So the idea is New York will see all of the bad stuff. They will have all the material. And when I say New York, I mean like Connecticut, New Jersey. It's quite a big radius, a big circle there. So I hope that, Khalifi, I hope that, like anything else you want to know about the situation in the United States, let me know. And to be honest, I've kind of like shut it off. I've shut off the news. I haven't watched it as much because it can get downright depressing. I don't know. What's your daughter's favorite series? Is it Peppa Pig or is it the Tiger King? Ignorant people are more aggressive. Yeah. I mean, we try to change that. We try to tell our students, like, if you see something, if you see somebody being racist, don't be quiet because there are more of you around than the racist person. Speak up. Let them know what's going on. I can't stand racism. And I see it, with my friends too, and I can't help but call it out. My wife does too. It's like, what? What do you mean? You just don't know. You just don't know. Is what I call real English. Oh, thanks. English textbook, yeah. And I try to keep it real, and I try to have that balance. If you're really trying to pass a test to get a good job, in the videos, I'll try to be as precise as possible. But in this video, I try to talk a little bit more, relaxed, and just how if you're having a conversation with a friend, be a little bit easier. Tiger King here in Italy. You just watched it. Oh, you watched 5 minutes. It's so trash. I mean, I can't argue with that. It is trash. But we say it's like a train wreck. It's like a train wreck. Like you can't take your eyes off it. It's a train wreck. That's when just some other things I can say too, but oh, nice. So Imad or Imad? Hope I'm saying that right. From Syria. Seems like a cool guy. What's my favorite outside activity? Like camping or fishing? Okay, I don't like fishing because I don't like the worm. I find that to be gross. So I can't fish. Not good at fishing. And camping, I like to take showers, so I don't really like to camp either. But I have a lot of nice places to hike. Those are kind of shut down right now. So I do like hiking for the day. I'll get all dirty during the day and then come home, take my shower. But Maine is beautiful. Once it starts getting nice out and I can start making videos outside, I know I'll take a trip to the ocean. The ocean is about 30 minutes from me. Beautiful coastline. It's more rocky, not as sandy like you might see in Florida. We have more rock. But my state, I would say, is one of the most beautiful because we do have mountains. We have the Appalachian Mountains, which is the east coast mountain range in the United States. And they have the Rocky Mountains, much bigger in the west coast, like Colorado. But we have some mountains, and sometimes the mountains are right next to the sea. Beautiful, beautiful. So I do like being outdoors, but I haven't really gone camping in a long time. But Wei Chen, do you like to camp? I'm telling you, come up to Maine. I know you said you lived in the United States. Come up to Maine. I don't know if you know anything about Maine, but it's beautiful. And go grab a beer maybe sometime if you drink beer, if you're old enough to drink beer. Maybe we'll have a dinner or something sometime on your way up to. It's beautiful up here. Beautiful up here. All right, Tired King. Next course. I mean, there's still 18 people in there. If anybody has questions. Let's see. Yeah. I was washing the dishes while Laura was making the dinner. Yes, at the same time. Okay. Anna, can fall down be used the same way as fall over? I would say yes. If someone trips over and falls, could you say he fell down or he fell over? To be honest, I think you could use either. Fell over, fell down. Exactly. Yep, exactly. Fall over may have more of, like if there is a stack of blocks and they get knocked over, you might say fall over instead of falling down. But don't worry about it. You can use either. Yeah. What time is it in my town right now? It is almost 1:30. 1:30 in the afternoon. It's 1:22. Okay. So I got something to say about that. So Marina says in Ukraine, they have online church services. The last I knew, in Florida, they have a stay at home order, except for Sunday mornings for church, which you would think that totally defeats the purpose of everybody staying inside. Because once you bring everybody together in a church service, guess what? You're spreading the virus. So online makes sense. There are a lot of churches, to be honest, where I live in the United States, not as religious as where I used to live in the southern United States. The southern United States is called the Bible Belt, where there are way more people who are religious down there. And the religion that they adhere to is mostly Baptist, mostly Baptist. Some people you ask, they'll say Southern Baptist. Where I live, it's used to be with the older generation, it was Catholic, mostly Catholic. Now, if you polled, I think a lot of people don't go to church, but the majority of people in my town that do attend a religious service, it would be Muslim. I think a mosque. Somali immigrants make up 25% of my town, and most of them are very religious, most. And up here, probably either Catholic, maybe Baptist too. So 23:15 in Kazakhstan? Wow. So almost the next day, Saturday. Wow. I didn't realize there was quite the time difference because I think in Italy it's like 5 hours later than me. And if you go on to I talked about this yesterday, but if you go into the West Coast, California, they are 3 hours behind me. So Kazakhstan, big country too, right? Kazakhstan, massive. Is that the largest landlocked country in the world? Don't quote me on that. It might be though. Kazakhstan, Almaty, right? Beautiful city, Almaty. Love to visit one day. Yeah. In English, do we say someone was killed by a disease? You could. Yep. You could say killed. Yep, for sure. You could say they succumbed to the disease. Succumbed. Write that. You could say that they were killed. Absolutely. Something strange. Here we say someone died. You can say that too. You can say they died from the disease. 100%. Yep. Could say that too. Oh, the next live stream. Yeah, I think maybe this time, like at noon. Is that kind of cool? About noon? Wait, Khalifa, you talking to me? Me, a great musician? No. I play it. I'm just not very good. Did I see the movie The Drummer? No, I haven't seen The Drummer. But there was a movie that came out not too long ago with what was that guy's name? Miles Tenor, I think it was his name. And there was the man that won the best supporting actor. What was this guy's name? But they played drums. And it was about a teacher and a student. And this guy was a crazy teacher. I can't remember what that movie was called. That was a great movie, though. Tiger King. I think probably when I'm done with this, my wife and I, maybe my daughter, maybe depending on what they're doing. Actually, my daughter has a class right now, but we'll go watch Tiger King. We're on the third episode, I think. Insane, insane. That is America, people. I'm sorry, that's America. I have met people like that. Not a lot of people, but there are some people like that. What time is it in my location? Just in case you didn't hear, yeah, it's 1:30. 1:30 in the afternoon. 1:30 in the afternoon. All right. China hiding information. Yeah, I mean, I think China could have helped. Been a little more forthright. But I also think there was a little bit of confusion there too. I wish they would have listened to the doctors earlier. Oh, Afghanistan? That's awesome. Afghanistan, Kabul, right? Is the capital Kabul? Hi from Afghanistan, or hi to Afghanistan. Can I talk about the phrase reduction? Is it necessary to mash the words up together? So if you're talking about reduction, you're taking away something, you're reducing it. That's the verb form. So a reduction, like the US to try to save money, we might see a reduction in their military capability. It may take away some money, reduction. So taking away from the whole thing is the reduction. But I don't know about mashing the words together. Reduction is the term. So they reduced their caloric intake. Maybe they were on a diet, so they reduced their calories, or they made a reduction in their calories. Couple. There you go, free YouTuber. Couple. All right, what else here? Oh, did I pronounce it wrong? Almadata? Almadata? Oh yeah, Anna, you're welcome. Whiplash. That's it. That is it. Yes, I've seen that movie. That movie is awesome. Whiplash. Oh, what is the best supporting actor? Okay, so in that movie, can't remember the guy's name, but he wasn't the star. So the supporting actor would be the best actor that gave the okay. You have the best actor. That is the main star of the film. But then all the other parts that support, that help, that is best supporting actor. And in the United States, they have what's called the Oscar, which goes to, best actress, best actor, best supporting actress, best supporting actor. And the man, Miles Teller is the star. He's the main actor. But then he does commercials in this country. Can't remember the guy's name. All right. I don't think Kazakhstan's that big. Oh, it's not that big? Kazakhstan? What's the largest landlocked country? Maybe Congo then. Maybe somewhere in Africa? Yeah. Oh, Aroni. Is it can a female be a pastor? It depends on the religion. Of course, you probably know, well, there would be a priest in Catholicism. But yeah, some religions there are female pastors for sure. I'm just not sure which ones, but yeah, absolutely. I have one of my students, I think a couple of years ago, her mom was a pastor. So some religions are on board with women becoming pastors. Yep, absolutely. I have seen it. What's that? Can you please pronounce wouldn't? Oh, wouldn't have in the American way. I sure can. Wouldn't have is usually probably a little bit more drawn out. We'd probably say, nah, I wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have. Wouldn't have is how we say it. It's like pretty much OF at the end. Wouldn't have. That's how we say it. Nah, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have. Wouldn't have. Wouldn't have. Kazakhstan is a country, Central Asia, near Russia and China. Yeah, but I think it's huge. I think it's massive. I know the flag. It's kind of a greenish, bluish with the sun in the middle. Lots of oil there, right? And the city, Almaty, I'm saying it wrong, the capital city, lots of white, right? Isn't it white like marble? White marble? All right. I think for YouTuber is a robot too, for sure. For sure. Am I hungry? Brent, do I look hungry? I ate lunch already, so I ate lunch a couple hours ago. I'm not that hungry. What does control mean? Control? For YouTuber, he's not a bot. He's not a robot. Control. Sure, like to control, like to keep in order, to control. What does control mean? To keep in order, control. Like you can control your temper so you don't get too upset. But the government could keep people under control, meaning that they can't get too crazy. Who's my role model? That's a good question. Jeez, it's a really good question. I don't know if I have a single role model. I mean, I just try to be nice. Yeah, I can't think of a single role model. It's just a lot of, I guess, everyday people. I see how they act, and I try to be like them. So I wouldn't say I have one role model. Certainly not a celebrity. Certainly not Tiger King. Trying to not be like Joe Exotic. But I don't know. That's a tough one. Uh, yeah, please make a contraction about Englishes. Yeah, I probably need to think my brain start. Please make a lesson about contractions in English. 100%. I need to do that. Oh, what do I do when I work out? I I haven't been working out that much lately. I'm older. I walk a lot. I walk a lot. I need to start lifting more again. I used to, but I don't as much anymore. My family does. My wife does a lot. My son does a lot. My daughter does a fair amount. I need to get better about it though. All right. If I'm not a religious person, will I have some problems living in the US? No, not at all. In our Constitution, I made a video about this not long ago. The Constitution, it's the the most important rules that make us a country, and there are 10 of them. And one of them is the freedom of religion. So you have the freedom to practice whatever religion you want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. You're free to practice any religion you want, but you're also free not to practice any religion. So no. Every so often, when I'm walking down the street, I mean, once a year, twice a year, people will say like, "Hey, come to church with us" or something, but you just say no and keep walking. So no, not at all. I would say more people in the United States are not religious than are. Probably maybe 50-50 or so. So yeah. Oh yeah, Russia is the biggest, but they have access to an ocean. What I mean by landlocked, the largest country that doesn't touch the ocean. I wish I had my phone. I think it might be Kazakhstan. I think. I could be wrong. Largest country that doesn't have access to the ocean. It might be Kazakhstan. Ain't? I don't use ain't. A lot of people use ain't, and it stands for like is not. But I guess as an English teacher, I don't use ain't. I personally don't, but a lot of people do. Ain't. It just stands for like is not. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. I am not going to do that. Or nah, that ain't right. It's not right. So basically stands for that kind of stuff. Ain't. I ain't have a problem with anybody who uses ain't, but I just don't use it. Ain't. But apparently it's a word. But I mean, I could maybe run calories. It just takes longer. Oh, it says my connection's unstable. Please wait while we connect. My connection's unstable. Yeah, somebody said they were going. Oh yeah, Wei Chen. He's going to do his homework now. See you next time. I probably should get out of here too. For YouTuber is back. You were so suspicious. Who's suspicious? Me? I was suspicious of free YouTuber. I thought he was a bot. I'm convinced he's not a bot. I think he's a real person from Kazakhstan. All right. Yeah, man, thanks, Ralphie. Ralphie, I don't remember seeing you in here before, Ralphie, but yeah, thank you. Welcome. I figure if I'm here and there's so many people that want to learn English and I'm just kind of hanging out, Russia is the Federation. Yeah, I watched this YouTuber guy. His name's Bald and Bankrupt. He's a British guy. He knows how to speak Russian, and he travels all around Russia, but then also some of the former Soviet republics. I think he was just in Azerbaijan and Armenia. Definitely been in Georgia. I don't think he's been to Kazakhstan though, but there were a couple other guys that I watched. Indigo Traveler is his name. He was in Kazakhstan. He is in Pakistan right now. Been watching Pakistan. Seems like a really cool place to visit. What is my opinion about the education system in the US? It's okay. It's okay, but it differs. It's very different depending on what neighborhood you go to. There are some neighborhoods in the United States, I would say it's not very good. It's so different in different parts of the United States. I mean, we are such a big country. I think we're the fifth biggest with people, 370 million. So it's so different everywhere. Like in Maine, we have pretty good education. I do. I think we have a pretty good education. If you go in some places like St. Louis or New Orleans, I know there are some places where it's not so good. So I think it's very different. We have some great places offer great education and some places that just aren't great. Oh, thank you, Khalifi. Respectful person. I mean, it's not that hard, right? To be respectful. Shouldn't we just be respectful of everybody? But thank you, Khalifi. Yeah, but like if more people were just respectful, it's not that hard. Just be nice. Just be nice. Do I understand musical notes? As a drummer, like I can understand some very basic notes. You know, like I know what a whole note is. I know what a half note is. An eighth note, a quarter note, 16th, a 32nd. But I wouldn't say that I'm really great. And reading music for on a scale, like a musical scale, I can't. I can't read it. Do you play any instruments, Igor? Maybe we'll start a band. Who's a real person? Oh, yeah. I think you're talking about free YouTuber, right, Marina? I think he's a bit of a naughty student. Yeah. I think if he was in a classroom, if we were in a real classroom, he would be spending some time after school. If we were in England, I think we'd call him a bit cheeky. Bit cheeky. Yeah, he's a bit naughty. Yeah, Ibrahim, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, Serge. Serge, that guy's awesome. I don't think he's in here now, but he comments a lot. Great guy. Great guy. Really, wants to learn English too. So some of you guys are great English students too. All right, man. See, free YouTuber. He is. He's a real person from Kazakhstan. All right. I think my family, we're about to do something. So oh, no way. Igor? All right. We'll jam. We'll get on like a Zoom session. Jam. I'll play the drums. You play the guitar. We'll both play it poorly. How about that? We'll both play it badly. Yeah, Ibrahim, I like it a lot. Some cool people in here, really nice people. You don't have to worry about anybody getting too naughty in the chat. I mean, free YouTuber, touch and go. Yeah, a little bit, but I think we'll keep him, right? Free YouTuber. Assuming he is a boy. Maybe he's a girl. I just always assume when someone's a little naughty, they're a boy. I don't know. Gosh, Ralphie. The intermediate plateau. Man, I don't know. I don't know about that. To me, there are like 3 levels to learning language. For me, at least, I start off with the reading, and then I start off trying to listen, and then I go into speaking, which I'm not there yet for my Italian. But I would think maybe to take it to the next level, is it having authentic conversations with English speakers? I think that might be the way to get over that intermediate plateau. Maybe listening to more difficult content, maybe reading more native level content. All right, so no, thank you guys for everything. It's a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I answered all your questions. If anything was unclear, let's do this again sometime. How about that? And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow? I don't know. See what's going on. Yeah. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys.